Is it rolling good? We good? Rolling.
Rolling.
Red dot. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Welcome back. This is, I'm going to call it session 2 with Mark Savard. I wanted to just say Mark Savard, comedy hypnotist, but you're really, you're a dear friend, but you also do more so than just that show. The show actually is great. It's the funniest hypnotherapy show you'll ever see. It's on in Vegas. If you're ever here, you have to go, period. It's not a request, it's an order. But on top of that, you also do personal hypnotherapy on a very, very limited basis with some, important people like me. I was always interested in personal hypnotherapy for the purpose of eradicating blocks that are there psychologically, that are not there because of past behaviors, specifically choices I've made. I didn't decide I wanted to be any particular way, either by societal programming or something that was yelled at me when I was a kid. It's like you're playing bumper pool with your dreams. You know what I mean? Like, just, you can't really get a straight shot at the goal. It's always these things deflecting you, and the elimination of those things. Do you go to therapy for 25 years, or do you just go, this isn't something I need to work out, I just need to get rid of it. It doesn't belong here. Is that the best use of hypnotherapy in your estimation? Or?
Well, when you say go to psychotherapy or a therapist or anything like that, I'm tiptoe into this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not a fan, and here's why.
Me neither. Yeah.
Here's why. They speak to you. They speak to you on a conscious level. How do you feel about your mom? How do you feel about your dad? What do you feel about your dog?
I'll tell you
all of these are all
thinking.
consciously. And then when we have a breakthrough, you get emotional. You start crying. Oh, my dog! He died when I was 6, and there's an emotional breakthrough, and everyone goes, "Oh, we had a breakthrough today." No, that was the subconscious mind coming forward.
Right.
In order to change any type of behavior, you have to change it in the consciousness that it was created. It's very difficult to change something in the subconscious consciously.
Sure.
It has to be done on a subconscious level. That's where your goal-striving, goal-achieving machine is. That's the subconscious mind.
Right.
So, in a therapy setting, if we're constantly going at it on a conscious level, and then eventually we get some emotional resolution, and what's the first thing the therapist does? Gets a box of Kleenex and gives you a suggestion to stop the tears and stop the emotion from coming out.
Right.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that we want pouring out, because that's where change begins to happen.
Right.
All right, so that's one thing. Second thing that you kind of said, well, when I'm growing up, or something might have happened when I was a kid, and these ideas. Let's look at it from the other side. You are only responsible for what you say. You're not responsible for what I hear. And there's a major difference there. Same thing with your parents. Your parents did the best they could with what they were given at the time. They didn't always make the right suggestions. They didn't always make the right idea.
Whether they were great or terrible.
Doesn't matter.
That's the reality, right?
What they said and how they reacted and the way they intended was one thing. What you heard in the subconscious programming is something completely different that they didn't have any control over. In some ways, yes, if it was a direct suggestion, but you get what I'm saying. You get the point. But the subconscious ideas, the rules of the subconscious mind, the subconscious ideas hold unless they are replaced. So whatever crappy programming you have, it stays there. And it's self-debilitating thoughts or anything that's harming you. And as, like the old saying goes, the two wolves. I have the wolf of anger and greed and resentment, and I have the wolf of exhilaration, loving and kindness. Which one will win? The one you feed. The subconscious mind works the same way. What ideas are you feeding it? Because it is a goal-striving, goal-achieving machine. Which means that it wants to execute the plan of thoughts that you've given it. That's its job.
I had a session with you last year. And it was my first time having this kind of thing done. Now, you can kind of pick apart, I've done pretty well in my life, and I certainly have bigger goals, as we all do, from where we are, things I want to level up into. But I always felt like there was a bit of a glass ceiling that was not of my control. It was sort of psychological, that was there, that was present. But I had no conscious aversion, and even a deeply subconscious, in many ways, I don't know what the inversion of that, the perversion of success. That I, like inwardly, I do have a striving mechanism that's stronger than other people's. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it in an industry that's got a 2% success rate and on and on. But there was definitely walls, definitely things that I've had. And we did that session, and I won't tell anybody what we, you know, what the basis of that was.
It was the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. It was, you know, did you see The Exorcist or whatever? It was like that, but with an even littler girl.
Right.
Right. So,
and more spinning.
Yeah, right. It took us weeks to get the stains out of the carpet. But the point is, I have noticed in the last year, you go by what is the obvious markers. There's certain things I wanted to do with my physical self, for example, that I had blockades on. Like, I can't exercise in front of my loved ones. It was this weird thing. And I think it may have come like a thing with my dad not wanting me to do push-ups because I was being all macho in front of him or something, or I was just doing push-ups in my room and he had an issue with it, and I was like, oh, well, I'll exercise in secret. Yeah. And so once you're standing up doing pushes in the closet, it's very weird. Yeah. And part of it was you end up working out, and you're like, I'm working out. The more famous I get, the more people are around. So now if I have a problem of something I can't do when there are people around, now in my life, people are always around. That's a really bad box to be in. It wouldn't really affect me if I was working as an IT guy.
Sure.
I could go to the gym every night and see strangers, but now there are no strangers in my life. So it was a tough, you know, it was one of those things that was just stacked there. In the last year, I just got measured for a new piece of wardrobe on my show. My biceps have gone up 2 inches in the last year. I've gone from almost 15 inches, whatever, which is a huge difference for me physically. Just huge difference. And there's been a couple of other areas where I've set really, I never was really great at certain boundaries. And that was part of what we dealt with. But like now, it's kind of a snap. Like and it's not something I'm consciously really pushing. You know what I mean? I didn't write it and like put a card on the mirror every morning that says, remember, you know, assert and forget, you know, whatever it is. It's just, the autopilot has changed, if that makes any sense. Of course it does.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And again, it's not conscious. It's this subterranean. The engine has been clogged. Just like you're on a cruise ship, you don't stare at the engine all the time. It's going where it's going, and it's being the propeller and the rudder is underwater. Right. You know, and if you try to fix it above the water, it's not going to happen. Right. And so I really felt like that did, and that's why I wanted to talk about this. I'm not going to share what all the stuff that we went through in that, because it's, you know, it's kind of important and certainly very personal. But I just wanted to sort of address with you how that works and how well it works with other people. I'm sure that you've experienced as well, because it's just, I found it stunning and almost bizarre, because I was always a believer. I never went against it. But I was shocked at how I've been able to absorb and assimilate stuff that I wanted to absorb and assimilate so much better after.
The difference is, none of the thought processes are really different. All the ideas and the resolutions that came out from that were all things that you knew, but exactly what I just said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You've been trying to change it on a conscious level.
Right.
You change it on a subconscious level, all of a sudden that foundation is a lot better built. When the foundation's built, you can build the building taller.
Right.
And that's really what's happening. You push through that ceiling that's been limiting you.
Right.
I'm proud of you. You've really come a long way.
There's a bunch of stuff that's happened along this way that I directed 5 episodes of my show, you know, in the last year. You know, I insisted in my contract stuff since the last time that since we did that session. That's when I went through the negotiating process where I ended up putting directing into my contract. And it worked out, and I'm now in the DGA. I have friends who've directed 2 movies, full features on their own, not in the DGA yet. It was a goal for me. It's always this kind of, but it was out here, right?
Right.
And after that, I was just like, no, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
And it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And it's going to keep happening in that regard. And I don't feel like that block is there. I have other stuff to work on, and I would like to kind of almost tee up in this. I would like to do another session with you sometime in the near future. We're not going to tape the whole thing because it's none of your goddamn business. But I want to tape maybe you putting me under.
Into.
And then into. Yes, you're right. Yes, into. Actually, yeah. Thank you for the correction. Because you don't go under. You go into. You're there. We're all.
You're not under the influence. You're into a state of mind.
Yes, right. As I go in and as I come out, or up or to the side of. And then we'll know, sort of almost like a magic trick, we'll know what we put in. And then I can, as I keep doing videos, eventually, maybe 6 months, 8 months down the line, I'll reveal what we actually worked on.
Sure.
And show people, not by, oh, I feel great and this is going to be awesome, but look what happened. Because this is how I really did this. We didn't do this in the beginning. Like, I didn't even talk about this when I was going to go do it. But my life shifted so drastically in a couple of areas because of it that I would like to now almost do a cataloging of the experience.
Right, and if you have markers, you know where you've gone and where you're going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't pay attention and don't measure, then there's really, if you never look back to where you've come from, then it doesn't feel like you've accomplished anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like watching your own hair grow. It's impossible. So that's what I'm setting up. So I'm going to put all of Mark's information in the comment section, in the description below. Links to the show, links to all that stuff. Probably a link for tickets, specials, or something. I'll talk him into it. And his Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And then as we do this, I'm gonna post today. We're gonna go do this. We'll do a little bit. You'll see how it sort of leads up. We may even cut the audio out so you guys don't hear exactly what's going on, but you'll watch it happen. And then we're gonna catalog over the next few months the shift that occurs.
I love it.
Because if it's any indication of what's happened in the last year. And I just posted a video of me working out on my thing called Working from the Inside Out. And it's a reference to this. But it's just a music video clipping together of what I looked like in the beginning and what I look like now as far as physically. It was part of what I was going for. And it made all the difference. And so if that's any indication, I'm 165 pounds now and like never been fitter and healthier in that regard. And it had a lot to do with what we worked on. Yeah.
The movie Inception.
Sure.
I love the whole concept of what it was, planting an idea and letting that idea grow.
Right.
You have the ideas, you plant them in yourself. What are they? Are they positive or are they negative? Because either way, people say, oh, I don't believe in power of positive thinking. Okay, I always ask, do you believe that you can think yourself sick? And everyone, 100% of the people go, yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, then the opposite is true. If you believe you can think yourself sick, you can think yourself well. And that just scratches the surface on the subconscious. You put the right ideas into the subconscious, flourish.
Yeah.
But there is an inconvenience, though. We got to go to the pet store, pick up some rats to feed these pythons.
Right.
Yeah.
Pythons. He's Canadian. Yeah. We say guns in America because that's the kind of people we are. You guys have that's like a nice pet. First of all, I want to thank you anyways just for doing this. And uber busy, but also just conceptually, it's something that, like I said, I like the idea of. I've always been a big fan of. Show me what you can do. Like I see a lot of people who do like motivational seminars and that kind of stuff. They haven't accomplished anything except writing a book about motivation. Right. You know what I mean? I would much rather see somebody successful in a lot of different areas come out and go, this is how I did it and you can too. That's a much more motivating thing for me. And so having seen like the success that you have and the strength of your business character and your ability to do all these things, and then on top of that, that's what made me feel like I could trust you with my subconscious mind, which is a big step.
Sure, absolutely.
Huge step. And not a lot of people are willing to go there. Although, according to you, and we've talked about this, a lot of celebrities, I mean, Stallone has talked about it openly, but there's been some big ones over the years that have gone to hypnotherapy to get that block that most people have out of the way, because to make it in this industry, and in fact any industry where you're going to make it to the top of what you're doing, you got to kind of clean slate on the programming that's there. Right.
And that is an absolute fact. And hypnosis is being used more and more. It's just hypnosis is a bad word. It's just that terrible description. It gives you that whole impression of
the watch and the candle or the spinning thing.
And it's not like that at all.
Right.
I mean, it's basically getting them. The way I like to define hypnosis, it's a subconscious state or a superconscious state where you're putting in the right ideas to get the most out of your life by getting the most out of your mind and body.
Right. That's great. Awesome. Well, I look forward to it, and I look forward to cataloging it, because I think it'll be a learning experience for me as well, just watching it, and years from now looking back, like you look at a list of goals you made and go, oh man, I actually managed to do that.
And maybe I could use the footage and show my students on how weird a hypnotherapy session can really
be. Yeah, if you were going to scare them out of the job. Yeah, sometimes this might happen. Yeah. Most people aren't like Hal Sparks, but watch this. Watch his head go. So, thanks so much. Thanks, Mark. You're awesome.
My pleasure.
The best. We'll see you next time.